I can still hear you. You won't be able to see me for a little bit, but I'll still be here. I'll hear you and see you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I trust you.
All right. See you a little bit.
Hello, all. I'm going to join and mute.
Well, there's Kabibi. And there's Isom.
Yeah,
Oh,
I said, hey.
nice. I put on one email, or maybe on Facebook, I said, we hope to have 100. So I hope they'll feel sorry for me and say, oh, let me go help the poor thing. I have 559, you guys. I see Kabibi. You're muted, Kabibi. Kabibi.
I'm not muted now.
Yeah, now. A few minutes ago you were.
Okay.
I can hear everybody now. I've heard everybody who's here so far.
And I'm loud enough.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay.
If not, Michael can fix it. Okay. Mary?
Need me to fix, Dr. McDade?
No. Okay. Hi, Gail.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Kabibi's here. Hi there.
So far, I have 3 readers. 4 if I count myself. That a little more airy.
Hooray. Okay, do I hear her? I don't know if I hear her or not. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, I'll mute myself now. You don't need.
Well, what's going on? Why is everyone quiet?
I don't know.
George just stepped away for a moment.
We're muted.
Yes, because we were muted.
Nice to see everybody again.
She just stepped away for a minute.
There she is.
Yes. It is nice to see everybody, you know. This is the best we can do, but I did see Susan.
Hello, Susan.
Hey.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Oh.
Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah. What a great way to celebrate.
Yes, and there are just so many programs. I hope once we come out of lockdown, we'll still have a lot of these virtual programs going on with the people.
We need to.
There are a lot of people who were out of contact. Like even at the church, there were people who hadn't been to church in ages, but we have this prayer line and they are on this prayer line every night and are happy. And then there are people who are out of town and haven't been in Seattle for years, but then they're on this line. We haven't had as many as 42 people at one time.
Wow.
I think that's amazing.
Great.
That's amazing. Okay, you guys, all of the writers aren't here, but I think we should start because I want to make sure everybody who signed up will get a chance. And first of all, what?
I'm sorry, will you indicate the order in the chat box?
Well, I had an order, but they aren't here. So
Okay.
I'm afraid I see you and I'll just call you.
Call us by name.
Yes, yes, I will say your name, okay?
Say
Thank
my
you
name.
so much for coming. And I thought I've been trying to decide how to start. And I thought I'd start with years. And being the teacher, I wanted you, the class, to be involved. And then I said, that's not fair. But I'll just tell you some important years. 1619 is the first one. That's when the Africans came in chains. And then I go all the way to 1776 when there was talk of including the then Africans and African Americans and freeing the slaves, but that's all it was. It didn't happen. In 1789, with the Constitution, again, there was talk and it didn't happen. 1862, the Emancipation Proclamation. And a lot of people don't realize that it only referred to the southern states, the states that had rebelled against the Union as for freeing. So technically all slaves weren't free. And of course, all of you know we're celebrating Juneteenth because the people in Galveston, Texas didn't get the news until about a year and a half after the signing. And there are various stories as to why. And one is that no Union soldiers were in Texas by this time. And so the Confederate soldiers would not give them the news. And others say it was just economics, as it often is in our capitalistic society. They needed them to gather the crops. But for whatever reason, we are celebrating Juneteenth because these people didn't get the news. And then I skipped to 1877. A lot of people don't know that date, but that was, well, 1865 is when Reconstruction began. And the North was concerned with rebuilding the North. And so they didn't do a lot to help. But by 1877, Reconstruction was over. So from 1865 until 1877, you know what a short time that is. And 1877 is also the time that the KKK got started. And then I go all the way to 1864 for the civil rights, and 1964, and then 1965, the Voting Rights Bill. And all of these years I've named are years that the country could have pivoted toward the right thing. And some of these years, not many, I really thought they were doing just that. And then I get to, I think I skipped to 2020. And I really think this is different. I hope I'm not wrong, but I'm glad you're here and celebrating. And I hope we'll have more to celebrate in a few days. Some of you received that long list of what's been accomplished so far. And some of those things are minor, but some of them are really big. But just knowing that there are people all over marching, demonstrating, whatever you want to call it, protesting, is a good thing. And I say, I wonder how long can they keep it up? You know, how long can we keep it up with our writing? So tonight we're going to keep it going. And Minnie is here. So Minnie, would you read first for us, please? This is Minnie Collins, who's a member of the African American Writers.
One of my favorite vocalists is Marvin Gaye. Some of you maybe of my generation might remember Marvin Gaye, and his favorite lyrics for me were based on what's going on. What's going on? Okay. What's going on? What's going on, says Marvin Gaye. 400 years later, what's going on, even 157 years later. Why is it Juneteenth rather than July 4? Just ask Frederick Douglass about what the 4th of July means to us. You will find the answer for celebrating Juneteenth. But can we measure our ancestors' freedom and progress since 1619 or 1863 or 1865? Can we measure and celebrate the progress of acting on our ancestors' determination? Can we really measure our progress? Can we measure our progress after petitions, rewriting policies, acting, not reacting when decisions are made, registering to vote, not, oh my gosh, I forgot to register, voting rather than complaining, I don't like nobody? Can progress be measured? How? Try articulating rather than equivocating. Try advocating, agitating if necessary, but never procrastinating. Get that education, graduate, not gyrate in all kinds of directions. Don't forget to aerate our minds. Participation is power. Language is power. Access is power. Never accepting removal of affirmative action. Never resigning to post-racial myths. Resisting appropriation of Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matters agenda, really? Vote against those NRA lobbyists, police brutality, piranha pharmaceuticals. Pull up those seeds of fear, worse than a COVID-19. We have seen, been, participated, lived through fears of viruses since 1619. We blow torch those fears, not one day, but today. Question, is our emancipation or progress in drive, reverse, neutral, or park? And then the last one is, okay, a picture fell down. I moved it off the wall. Revolution dialogue. Revolution is positive. Revolution is change. Revolution revolves. Revolution evolves. Revolution has volition. Revolution is healthy. There is gain in being against. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Gail Haynes, who is also a member of the group. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
I had to find where it was at.
Okay.
Okay, hi there, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I'm gonna read some poems out of my book. This is my first book, published in 2018. And I'm gonna read this poem, I'm gonna read 3 short poems. The first one is gonna be Rise Up from Hating. And the subtitle is, Can We Just All Get Along? Okay. Pulled up by their own bootstraps. Yes, that's what some will say. Never stopping to thank God for another day. Going around their face in a scowl, looking to see who will stumble and fall. Move yourself away from those who hate and despise. but they are deceived and living a lie. Love is the answer, whether you have riches or you digging ditches. They'll say, I can't stand her. Look at that dress. She's toe up from the flow up, and her hair's a hot mess. What makes people judge someone else when they've never walked in their shoes, shared their misery, or experienced their blues? No one knows the person behind the screen or the joys and heartaches they have seen. But God has a way of humbling folks and turning things around. That person may be rising up and the other one's coming down. Let's move beyond ourselves and our needs and help someone else. Let love arise in our hearts. Let's be the first one to make that start. Search your heart and let love to be found. Even the caterpillar couldn't keep his face to the ground. He emerged out of the cocoon, he rose up and he flew. The same thing can happen for me and you. There's someone that needs our smile to have strength to make that extra mile. You will be glad when you made someone's day, shared their pain and wiped their tears away. That's the end of that one. You guys, am I coming across very clear?
Yes, just read.
Okay, Georgia. Okay, this one is called Justice Overruled. In memory of Michael Brown, 18-year-old male gunned down with his hands raised up by the police in Ferguson, Missouri on August 9th, 2014. No charges as of yet have been filed against the police, Darren Wilson. It goes like this. Police officer, your claim to fame is not wiping out our Black man. This kind of action is a no-win. People of color everywhere represent this man because this was a life you stole from God's hands. People are praying for justice to rule. The plan to eliminate Black men is the devil's tool. The Bible says you will reap what you sow. This fate only God knows. You killed a son, a friend, and a brother. Somewhere there's a fatherless child and a weeping mother. We are a people strong and we have endured long. Many tragedies we have faced. But it's not your responsibility to wipe out the Black race. You discharged your gun. His hands went up, he fell down. All the people gathered around, shocked and stunned that you claimed justice by cowardly using your gun. Okay. Now one more. That goes along with what's going on today, pretty much. Okay, so this one is 38 Seasons to Rise. Seasons to Rise. I should have had a marker there, but it fell out. Seasons, dispensations. We are living in a world with much chaos, turmoil, and strife. Blind hate has found a way into many lives. Skin color, not the depths of one heart or their mind, causes people to judge our ways. Deception layered with hate and lies. My prayer is that people will not only see, but open their spiritual eyes. My beautiful mahogany Black brothers and sisters, I celebrate. My sweet cornbread brown people, I can relate. Only God knows your fate. I see the tears in your eyes, concerned if your children would arrive home alive. I share the pain in your soul. The world can be mean, unloving, and cold. Let's embrace and remember our ancestors of old, who risked their lives, bled, fought, cried, and died, that we would come forth to stand and rise. So be encouraged, my brothers and sisters, and dry those weeping eyes. Put your hands on your hip, but don't let your backbone slide. You must stand strong and tall. But if the pain is too great and causes you to fall, and all you can do is muster up a crawl, I'm telling you, crawl with some dignity and crawl with pride. Stand up on the inside and rise. Rise with determination and rise above hate. Allow love to fill your heart with victory to celebrate. Amen. I'm done.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Kabibi.
All right. Great job, sweetie. Great job. All right, here I go. I'm Kabibi Monet here in Seattle, Washington, Executive Director of New Black Arts Plus Theater. I want to give a shout out, a thank you out, a praise my God out to Georgia for inviting me to be a part of this organization. I'm just so pleased and happy. I'm happy. So this is a piece that I wrote a while back, and I'll just start. All aboard! Like the powerful rumbling feel of a locomotive headed towards freedom. Starting out slow and gathering speed. Take a knee, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. Like the sound of a railroad car moving towards equality. Take a knee, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. I love your determination to be free, but why should I take a knee, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee? I know you've been dehumanized by a system full of all sorts of lies with false accusations and on humiliation fed to the world with determination to keep us down, face down on and into the ground. Take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. I stand accused of not setting you free, but I still see no reason to take a knee, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. Free to build and thrive, take a knee. Free to be alive, take a knee. Free from miseducation, take a knee. Free from improper incarceration, all forms of misappropriation, including misrepresentation, ongoing hateful discrimination, violence, and shameful elimination. Take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. If you stand for peace, love, and harmony, take a knee. If you think we should all be free of poverty, take a knee. If the murder of children in our schools is wrong, take a knee. If the killing of Black people should not go on, been done for far too long, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. Make things right and set yourself free with liberty and justice for all. This piece I'm getting ready to do now, thank you, thank you, thank you. This piece I'm doing now, it's dedicated to all the mothers, all the grandmothers, all the fathers. And it's an unknown piece. It's not mine. I didn't write it myself, but it needs to be said, and it needs to be dedicated to everyone that's looking and those that will look upon it. Our sons are dying, but there are no graveside ceremonies of smooth valve taps and white glove salutes. No flags folded in midair by brass men walking in stiff-legged reverence. 3 blocks from the backyard petunias they once pulled, our sons are dying. A stone's throw from the church where they sang, "Yes, Jesus loves me," our sons are dying. Our sons are dying outside the gates of the football fields where their biceps held the line. Our sons are dying in the places that wear the color of their youth. Our sons are dying, carrying light artillery that explodes in their veins. And those whose pockets are filled with power, they come to us with clinical concern. In a language cold enough to freeze the heart. They speak of percentages and then of causes, which condemn us even as they shroud us in grief. Percentages do not breathe. or dream or die. And those with profit and power are never without blame. We know the truth. Our sons are dying in an undeclared war that profits those who do not know or love our sons. And so a call to those who have known wars and won, even those they lost. For every son slain, we shall save 10,000. For every son slain, we shall save 10,000. And again, like I said, the author of that is unknown. I've been doing that piece for many, many years, and it brings truth to what's happening even today. And that's an old piece.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, yeah.
Very well.
Lydia?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me, Georgia. Georgia and I met through collaborating on her play, Changing Oil, which if you haven't seen her or Minnie's play as part of the We Out Here Festival, you should check it out in streaming or on demand, I think it is. And tomorrow they will be speaking as playwrights and they will get interviewed with their work. So I definitely recommend you check them out. I wrote this first poem after the death of Michael Brown and Sandra Rice and Sandra Brown and Tamir Rice, and it's called Speaking in Tongues, which is the name of my poetry manuscript. Speaking in tongues. When they come in this time, in this place, Niemöller socialists are not first. The strange flotsam jettisoned with guns, garbage bag nooses, metal-lined vans, and more guns are named Amadou and Oscar, Trayvon and Michael, Sandra and Tamir, to hashtag say the name of a few. In this time, in this place, our rage-full voices spill out in protest, but the dam you fashion from concrete blocks of denial, detraction, disbelief, disinterest stops the viscous swamp of our agony from reaching you. While you watch from the banks of privilege, we wade in water as thick and ropey as clotted dreams. To live while Black, to marry who we love, to use the bathroom in peace, to keep pipelines out of ancestral lands, to escape landmines, genocide, and other thieves that steal our children and grandmothers. We wade in water trying to have the breath to live, the peace to live, the unendangeredness to simply live. Our light bright to midnight skin warps and prunes. The water stirs and pulses with our voices, our steps, and pushes against your concrete impassivity. You look away and begin to consider. Blustery defensiveness stops any progress, but you begin to consider the sandbags you've stacked and keep on hand to righteously protect your position. But now, in this time, in this place, now the shore deteriorates beneath you. You who have stood so certain, so safe before. Now you reach out your hand, hoping to share in our buoyant resilience. Now you speak out in confusion and fear, beginning to imagine the torment of drowning by degrees in the sputum of ruptured justice and democracy. You remind, no, scold us, that movements are stronger when we come together, even though the barrier between us was built by your hands. And we are asked, no, admonished, to disregard that dam and the damning consequences of your past silence, even though the raw meat smell of our children's blood clings to both. Forgive and forget slithers smoothly from transgressors' tongues. You present these nonsense syllables as if you're an oracle of the divine, but your purpose, your ploy, is far from holy. I know. Still, I will raise my hand from the chest-deep depths I have come to know. I will reach across the rough concrete of your ignorance and help you stand in your new waterlogged reality, in your pool that barely reaches the knee. I dare you to call yourself a survivor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
I have one more short one. I wrote this for my son, who is one of my heroes and a fierce activist. He and my daughter, and I am in awe of both of them. Bearing witness. You were a promise of fierce beingness, even as a small, silent sentinel waiting, an island of resolve in an unreliable sea. Circumstance never dictated your certainty, but I didn't know if you would stay or drown and wash away in clotted currents. Fear, like other muscles, optimism, triceps, requires attention and use to increase in strength. After one loss, it had overpowered the organic authority of my heart and brain. Yet you held truth before you bore flesh, wisdom before teeth, knowledge before bones and breath. You, my son, a gospel stronger than any sea, any fear. You are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Monique? Where's Monique?
I am here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Monique Franklin. I'm a member of the African American Writers Alliance. Such a pleasure to be here today with all these wonderful poets, along with being a part of the We Out Here Festival. So this piece that I'm going to read today is called A Name. I knew I couldn't protect my daughter from everything, so I chose her name carefully. To help her to survive and thrive, I gave her a name, and I considered so many. Mosi, firstborn, a name, the first gift. Nadia, hope, a name, a verbal amulet. Umi, life, a name, a mnemonic device for my child to remember the might of their people. Liam, my people, my nation, and the brilliance they were born with. Aniko, ancestor, a name to pull from the genius of their genus. Amir, strong, powerful, mighty, to remember who they are despite the world we live in. Macaw, earth, a name, a spell of protection. Karma, deed, act, fate, destiny. A name, an intention, a proclamation of greatness, of freedom, of health. Tia, talented, gifted. A name, a whisper, a mantra, true spoken to injustice. Do not answer to those who do not know your name. Nabia, intelligent. A name, a shield. Naima, content, happy. A name, their story. A name, Emmett, powerful. Yvette, archer. A name, Michael, who is like God. Hands up, don't shoot. Tanisha, ambition. Eric, ever and always the ruler. I can't breathe. Sandra, an unheeded prophetess. Tamir, rich, but the rich can't afford to play with toys. Miriam, virtuous. Trayvon, brave one, appeared suspicious. Melissa, honeybee, felt the sting of 24 bullets. Brianna, high, noble, exalted. She was sleeping. George, farmer, earth worker. He cried out for his mother. But a name, shoot. Shoot, what is a name? When not even a mother's love can provide absolute protection. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Jay?
That was powerful. Thank you so much. Oh, I never thought about it like that. Put a different perspective on it. This, I'll do two pieces and then I'll do my brand new one, fresh off the press first. I thought about Martin Luther King Way that has so much meaning in terms of successes, of triumphs, history of suffering and sacrifice, pain. And I thought, what about Juneteenth Way? A Juneteenth Way. So this is called Juneteenth Way. Jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way. Celebrating with shouts, hoops, and hollers, dancing and singing, not sure what the future will hold. Willing to suffer hunger, homelessness, rain, and the biting bitter cold, jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way. 2 years after executive orders set slaves legally free, General Granger rode up to Galveston, June 19th, 1985, reading words that brought men to their knees. Jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way, freedom bells sweet, ringing like sugar for the spirit, honey for the heart, syrup for the soul. Facing a dangerous and treacherous road ahead, acceptance was hard and often an elusive goal. Jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way, paved with lynchings, Jim Crow, and horrors, too hard to relive. Struggling to understand God's love, how to forgive men willing to kill at will. But still jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way, whippings, beatings, abuse, suffering inflicted at the hands of flesh and blood, just another man. Made to feel less than human, property, chattel, pain worse than any human should be forced to stand. Yet, we go jumping, limping, running, hobbling down Juneteenth Way, celebrating with shouts, hoops, and hollers, dancing and singing, not sure what the future will hold. Barbecues, rodeos, parade games, and races, families together at peace that no one will be bought or sold. And then this is my signature one. Anytime it's Juneteenth, I do this one. And this is about 3 years old. This is a performance piece. It's called Emancipation, Proclamation on the Plantation. The slaves. The slaves hooted and hollered, shouted and screamed, hugged and cried. Lots of dancing, kicking up dirt. The picking stopped. The master said, well, ain't y'all a downright bunch of ignorant and ungrateful Negroes? Go on, get out here. You's free as black crows. We ain't got no more claim on you. Lincoln done opened up the gates and hell and let all the devils out. Go on now, get on up out of here and take all your rags and riches with you. We don't give you jobs, put a roof over your heads, fed you and kept you from being eaten by your own kind. Yeah, we kept you. We kept you from being eaten by your own kind. You ain't had one day of worry about what you gonna eat, where you gonna sleep. Now look at you. Now look at you, acting foolish over a scrap of paper, hooting and hollering and acting like a bunch of uncivilized savages. Yeah, there was some beating going on from time to time, but the Lord said you spare the rod, you spoil the child. We ain't done nothing wrong. We just following God's law. They be masters and slaves back there in that damn Bible. So we ain't violated none of God's commandments. But if you step one foot off this here piece of God's property, don't even think about stepping one foot back on, or I'll shoot you dead on the spot because you be trespassing. You can't read. You can't write. What you gonna do? You gonna dance for a chicken bone? You're gonna be hard. I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna be hard out there. The world is cruel and evil, especially so it's color. They liable to round every last one of you up, put you in chains and ship your blacks back where you come from. The slaves pondered the master's words. There was a hush, so quiet enough to hear cotton drop. It was hot. It was hot, hotter than the metal box set directly in the sun used to bake the will out of runaway slaves. The slave said, chicken coops. The chicken coops would be better than our shacks. Slop. The slop for the hogs be better than our food. Our ears and our arms, they've been burned and clipped. Our bodies tattered and feathered, our flesh lashed and branded, our legs shackled and chained, our feet hacked and bound, our necks been strangled with rope till we dead. Our women folk been sent to the house for the massa business. Our children been bought and sold. Our spirits been caged and broken, but we's free. We's free now. We's free. We's free now. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh. I'm sorry. Raul, did you have one? Raul, did he leave?
Yep.
Yeah, didn't you have one?
Yep. Two.
Okay, thank
One.
you. We're doing okay. We still have about 4 more readers, so.
Okay, I'll give you 2.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so thank you for inviting me, and hello everybody, new friends, all the ones I already seen. Hi. Rebellion is a beautiful thing. The world is changing. People are getting rebellious. Society shaken by financial institutions, crumbled infrastructure, ethnic studies banned, books banned, scare tactics, alienate Mexicans, whitewash attempts to erase history, demise of society values. What shall we expect when people's dignity is in shambles? Cracked, imploded like frozen water bottles. People are getting rebellious. Yes, rebellion is a beautiful thing. Fascist laws created by a handful of bigots, living in dungeons whose miserable life lacks light and understanding. Their new laws are not serving the purpose of this nation. With liberty and justice for all, revelry is the sign of the end of the status quo. What must come down will go down. Poverty and injustice will make a rebel out of anyone. And one more. This is after Ian Manuel, who at age 13, he was sentenced to life in prison. He spent 18 years in solitary confinement. And he was released in 2016. And I found out today that while in prison, he was a poet. He rewrote so many poems by Maya Angelou and others. And he really inspired me to look more into his life, because like us, Richard, Georgia, we know, in prison, the kids learn, and they learn all kinds of things. But when they learn to write and they see that they got the gift of poetry and they can share it with others, it's a way to reach out through hearts and souls to everybody else. So this is after him. Injustice. Concrete box, locked in like a rabbit, dog, inhumane treatment for a child, a hopeless person without a future, shattered, poverty, marginalization, excessive sentences suffered, harsh convictions, unfair trials leading to life in prison, death row, penalty, the ultimate escape. Liberty and freedom, meaningless words in the land of the free, where freedom is not for the Black folk. They are foreigners in their own land, shackled, bound, chained by unjust laws, excessive bail bonds making them slaves to the unjust judicial system. Tear up the chains, break down the walls, justice for all men, black, brown, yellow, red. The color of our skin is not a threat, but a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Laura Ellen McKinney.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Ellen McKinney, and I write poetry. And I have two. I have a love poem first to sort of lighten things up. It's called Being Fed in Public. A very sweet hello, a very loving look, a very tender touch just above my elbow from you, a stranger. Don't know you, never saw you, can't remember if I met you, somehow feel your soul familiar, you, the stranger. It is the night of the celebration for the Chinese year of the rat-a-tat-tat, tat-tat, rat-a-tat. In this year of the rat, passion lurks behind the hat of you, the stranger. What made you see my secret smile? What made you know my fathomed fear? What made you sit so creature close? What made you still my heating hand? What made you hold my jaded jaw to place a prawn between my teeth? What made you feed the hidden heart of this tall stranger? It is the night of the celebration for the Chinese year of the rat-a-tat-tat, tat-tat, rat-a-tat. Flaring fireworks in the sky, singeing sky, furtive glances in the night. Singeing sky, tat-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat, rat-a-tat. In this year of the rat, skies burn, souls yearn between us strangers. Your very silly, sexy smile, my gasp, my sigh, my I don't know. I'll see you later. I don't know. You will, believe me, maybe so. I'll see you later, 6 o'clock. Singeing sky, tat-tat, rat-a-tat, tat-tat, rat-a-tat. A teeter on the abyss slide, this dance of strangers. A very sweet hello, a very loving look, a very tender touch just above your elbow. No longer strangers.
Okay, I have to sigh.
And this last one is called 8 minutes, 46 seconds, and forever. Whether one drop coffee tinted or bearing regal skin that evokes the total absence of light, we who wear our black proudly or wish it away because the weight of ancestors is a painful commitment. We who wear our black proudly or in shame must daily step through, work around, interpret, and interact with the ever-changing protocols of the white people's regulations and rules for the systematic subjugation of the American Negro. Ever-changing protocols that morph before we finish memorizing each day's lessons. The copyright for George Floyd's edition is 1973. It's a bit like the 1619 original version. Frankly, the rules don't matter. We don't make the rules, can't keep up with the revisions. Too busy trying to sidestep roadblocks, shackles, lynch mobs, bullets, bum rushes, be free. Polluted skies above him, chauvinism takes a knee. Blue, free breath constricts Black airways, pushes COVID out to sea. See, George is tired. Eyes to heaven, this we hear, pained, plaintive plea. I can't, Mom. That you, Eric? This knee's messing with my what our country founding father's constitution promised me. I can't fight this weight that's on me. Legs are numb. Did I shit or just pee? Sandra, I'm so tired of unfair fighting. These folks killing, but won't look at me. And mama, sweet mama, where's your hand? Jesus, dear God, my man. Oh, somebody tell my babies I love them. I'd give my whole world for them. But I don't have the world. This world's letting go of me. No more days or minutes, clock's not ticking. I've run out of time. No, I thought I would touch the world, but I can't breathe.
Cheryl. Unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I have two poems. One of them, some of you have heard, and I wrote it a long time ago. You'll know what it's about. The thing that gets me about these poems, these particular poems that I write, is that it doesn't matter when I wrote them because they're still just as meaningful today, unfortunately. I'd like to see things change, but we haven't seen enough of it. So this is called A Question of Color. And there's a little epigraph. Seriously though, bro, regardless of the outcome of this, we have made history and shall die proudly if need be. Gotta go. Much Aryan love. These were the words of John William King, one of the three murderers of James Byrd Jr. in Jasper, Texas. They had tied him to their truck and drove away while he was on the ground. Anyway, A Question of Color. He's got blood in his eyes, blood on his hands, made history on the back of a black man. Writes letters, misspells regardless, placing G-U-A-R-D squarely in the middle of the word. How do we guard ourselves from the John William Kings of this world? Bro, he writes, the vernacular of the black man, part of his speech. The irony escapes him. What color is hatred? In the vestibule of a Bronx apartment, a lone African returns home in the middle of the night. 4 white plainclothes cops surround him. What color is fear? In his black hand, a wallet becomes a gun, a gesture, the benediction of death. 41 bullets, 8 seconds. Cops as criminals roaming the streets, blood in their eyes, blood on their hands. In middle America, a high school stands deserted. Echoes of shots fired live in the walls. Heroes and villains have their day. White boys armed and dressed in black, blood in their eyes, blood on their hands. What color is violence? Aryan love, law and order, to protect and serve, the right to bear arms. America has blood in its eyes, blood on her hands. What color is justice? And this is something I wrote quite a while ago, but I read it again today, and it could be for George Floyd or all the other people that the cops have recently killed. And now you are gone, not up the road, down the street, across the country, or abroad. Simply spirit, ether. I shudder, Think of how lives collide, teeter, as we did, shadows reaching. I whisper to the air, a wish, a prayer. In syllables unknown, as though ancestors were speaking, trying to reach you, trying to teach me the language of goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's everybody. Brenda, everybody that was on the list. Brenda Astorino. Yeah, unmute.
Prayer. If prayer was made to bind us in faith, then have we not found treasure as sisters and brothers stood with one another? If prayer is irresistible force, then we best never forget this transformative path that gelled community. If prayer was made to unify us, then I want to remember when COVID became the immovable object. If prayer was made for reflection, then were we not given the time for all minds to see reality in the USA? If prayer was made to change our focus, then were not petitions answered as our hearts heard the call for all and larger love became more widespread action? May prayer produce a new culture. Then we have hope for real change. Voices, hands, hearts, all without color, a triumph of justice. As prayer transmutes fear to being safe, then are we the solution as we decided to achieve one humanity? May this prayer be multiplied by the number of stars in the sky and go out to the minds and hearts of all sentient beings everywhere.
Thank you. That's everybody I had on the list. Is that everybody? I want to skip anybody. What?
What about you?
Well, what I did in the beginning, I have a little closing, but I want to make sure I get everybody in. But everybody who signed up, I think I have your name. This is really wonderful. Thank you so much. I see we have 29 people. It's really nice. And it's 3 minutes before 7.
Oh.
So we have some extra time. And you know, I started with all of those years, and pivot is a really good word that a number of people have been using the past few years. And for the past week, maybe a little more than a week, I keep thinking about my upbringing. And you know how a song you haven't heard in a long time pops up and you don't know where it came from, but it just won't leave you alone. Well, I grew up in a Baptist church, and I should add a Black Baptist church, where they sang songs that I just heard they were Dr. Watts. I had no idea who Dr. Watts was or whatever. But I just assumed Dr. Watts was Black and had been in slavery, or he had parents or grandparents, and I was wrong. This is a white person. But I just fooled around with some of the songs that he wrote, and most of them just had one line. And I see some people shaking their heads. Thank you. That means you know about these songs. And I took a number of his songs and I put them in a certain order to come into a poem. It's not very long, but it must be about, oh, I don't know, I haven't counted, maybe 12 songs. But I can hear my mom singing some of these songs. You know, I still haven't heard George Floyd say mama. I mean, I just haven't heard it. I think I stopped looking. I don't know. But when I heard he called mama, I thought, well, Medea's been dead 50 years and I still call Medea. But anyway, here are my songs. And they're just, I wouldn't have a religion I couldn't feel sometimes. If you're talking about Jesus, he's a friend of mine. At the name of Jesus, every knee should bow. If I couldn't say a word, I just wave my hand. If it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't have no friends. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It's the Lord's blessing we now enjoy. I wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. If it wasn't for the Lord, I couldn't stand the storm. I love the Lord. He heard my cry. I know I'm a child of God. And this was my favorite one. And ever so often when something would happen around the house, I would just blurt it out to my mom, and we always laughed about this. It's getting late in the evening. Sun is almost down. And finally, before this time, another year. And I think that's a good place to end, because there are a lot of us who are hoping for so much before this time, another year. Thank you so much.
We love you, Georgia. Georgia.
Thank you,
We love
Georgia.
it.
We have an extra 30 minutes if you want to chat or ask questions or whatever. So, but just thank you so much for coming. I think I counted about 8 African American Writers Alliance members in the audience, and that just makes me feel so good. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. Yeah. Somebody had a question.
Yes, Diane.
Oh, what?
Hi, Miss Georgia and all here. Hi. My question is, I've seen a lot of what you do, and thank you for your art and your words. But my question for some of us who are new to this, how would one become a member of the Alliance, and what do members do, and how do you commune, things like that? How do you meet?
Just show up at the Columbia City Library when there is no lockdown. And that's all. We have a long list of members because if one shows up, we consider one a member, although we do have dues of $60 a year. Yeah. And we write and we read. And there are times when we have lots of fun. But the most important something, at least for me, is writing. I think it's so important that we tell our stories. I've been trying to figure out how we can have some collection somewhere for people to put stories of their encounters, shall I say, with the police. Everybody is not beaten physically by the police, and everybody certainly isn't killed, but there are just so many instances of police wielding their power. And it would be just really wonderful, I think, especially at this particular time, if people told these stories. I told somebody one day the police gave my then husband a speeding ticket because he was going 56 in a 55 miles per hour zone. And one day the policeman stopped me when I was coming from Seattle, and he said, "You didn't stop at that sign." And I said, "It's a yield right away sign. You don't have to stop. There are no cars." He says, "But you didn't stop." But it's not a stop sign. And he said, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And he it was a warning, and I just wish I had saved it. And he actually wrote on the ticket that I was going 0 to 5 miles an hour, you know. And so often police stop us because they can't stop us, and then it gets out of hand. I heard or I read that the young man in Tacoma actually called the police.
Oh, God.
And not too long ago, some young men were fighting in the library one Saturday after a meeting. And I jumped in. I was trying to stop them from fighting because somebody had said, call the police. And all I could think is, I do not want the police to come. And the poor librarian was trying to stop me. And I was trying to stop them. And only later did it occur to me, because you know, both of these young men were much taller. But they were, you know, and but it's just, I always say, nope, I do not call the police. Because very often when we call the police, we go to jail. So you remember Charlena Lyles called the police.
Yeah. So she probably needs the website address.
Okay, give it to her.
How about us?
I'll put the Gmail. So if you want to be this, I'll let my elders let me know if I'm speaking out of turn.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No.
So I'm going to put the Gmail in the chat, and those who are interested in joining the group, we meet once a month. Right now we're meeting virtually. And then if you email us, I'm sure someone will add you to the membership and make sure that you get the Zoom for the next month.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I don't remember it. I do know that if you just put AAWA Seattle, you can get it. So that's why I don't know it. Somebody else had a question.
Did you record this beautiful group of poems?
Yes,
So we might be able to hear
it recorded by Michael Maine. I call him the genius, Michael Maine.
So we can revisit this then, because the poems were so intense and rich.
Okay.
Will you be posting a link to the recording?
Michael, you want to tell us something, or will you send it to me? Will we have a list of everybody here? I was trying to take, but I stopped because I wanted to hear, and I don't know if I got out all of the names on here. It says,
I can do that.
You can
I can do that.
Okay, all right. But I see so many people I know, and it's really, really nice. Nakia was there somewhere. Is Nakia gone? Nakia can recite just like that, you know, and she was a relative of Charlena. But she has some wonderful poetry. She didn't tell me she would read, and I don't want to put her on the spot. Maybe she left even. Anybody else?
I wish Ms. had have come, because Ms., you know, yeah, she has some good poetry. I was looking forward to hearing her stuff.
It's a lot of good poetry. It's a lot of good poetry out there. And unfortunately, too many people don't get heard, or they get heard by a very small group. And we're trying to stop that, but we need help. We really need help to do it. I see several people who were regular attendees of our reading. I see David Post down there. You're still in Seattle, right? Okay, and I see Kevin, who moved to Bellingham, helped us with the laying out of our book. And with somebody else, Diane has heard us. Susan has been with us a long time. Sometimes I say I should credit Susan with putting us in the public's eye, because when was it? Was it 91, 92? She did an article for Real Change about us. And we met downtown. She interviewed me, and they put this big picture on the front page of Santiago.
Yeah.
And she happened to know, Susan happened to know George, who then owned Gallery 110, right there on Washington and First Avenue. And George wanted to do something different in his gallery. And Susan suggested that he have us come. She had heard that we wrote poetry based on paintings. And we had just done that at Seattle Art Museum. So she made the suggestion, And for almost 5 years, I've forgotten, and I'm not in touch with George now. But every month there was a reception at the end or the beginning, I can't remember now. But there were 2 galleries, and we would write poems independently about that. So we got a lot of practice, and it was really good for me. I had written poetry, but never as much as I did during those years. And I look at some of the poems today, and that was pretty good. You know, after all the time, I still like them. So it's good. Yeah. Anybody else?
I had something.
Okay.
I just want to challenge you to come up with another Dr. Watts line to end things, because before this time another year, the next line, you know the next line.
What's the next line? Not, I may be dead and gone. I'm not gonna say that. I am not going to say that. But I admit that's part of my prayer. I want to outlast this. I want to see what is it. I want to run on and see what the end will be.
That's good. Okay.
No, I'm keeping it before this time another year. Somebody else.
Georgia, I'm joining you from Colorado, and I'm wondering whether or not some of these beautiful poems shared tonight have been published. And is there a way that we can either buy your works of poetry or share them with our online communities?
What a good question.
Take it, somebody.
So the first poem that I read appears in Speak the magazine. It's a literary magazine, and I'll put the link in the chat. It's just speakthemag.com. Issue number 3 is where that appears. And the second poem, Bearing Witness, appears in the Pitkin Review. I don't know if it's still available, but my poetry book is coming out at the beginning of the year. It will be called Speaking in Tongues, at least unless the editor makes me change it. And you can follow me on social media or check out my website, which I'll also put in the...
Yeah, make sure I get the information, because I know we'll be in touch.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you want to add something to that? You look, when I was doing the song titles, I could tell you recognized a number of them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Children of the Gospel. All right. Of course, I'm going to recognize them. So if I do a performance piece, I generally don't want that published. That's just how I feel about it, because it's a performance piece. And if someone reads it, I'm really picky about that. You're probably not going to read it the way I would read it. Or, so no, what I read tonight is not published, and I probably will never publish it. But Georgia will mention the books that we do have through the African American Writers Alliance that are published. And I do have a few poems that are. They certainly don't speak to Black history, Juneteenth, but they have been published. What I will tell you is that
we have 5 anthologies so far.
Yeah, the anthologies, yeah.
And
I do love to
everybody here, let's see, I think everybody here has something in some of the anthologies. I'm blessed to have something in all of the anthologies. But 2 of those anthologies you may still buy. And I have 8 books of poetry. And
8? Good heavens.
6 of them you may buy. And they're all called Outside the Cave.
Yeah.
Well, I probably shouldn't say 8, I should say 6, because the first 2 have pictures in them. And the editor convinced me to have them published again without the pictures, because they cost so much with the pictures in them. But honestly, every time I've had the books with the pictures next to the books without the pictures, people pay the higher price so they can get the pictures. I knew I wanted those pictures in there, but he was telling me how I could make more money and I should, and it's, he can make more money too. But those, but we're trying to figure out a way. We want to tell people about our books, but I'm just gonna hang up. We want to tell people about the books, but I don't think we're going to sell them from the website. We're just going to list them. So if you give me your name, your email address, or telephone number, then I can contact you. But a number of us have books. Minnie has 2 books of poetry. Minnie's hand is up. Go, Minnie. Minnie, you were going to say something?
Oh, yes. Once you go to the website, especially with the revised website, you will find a lot of the information about our published works. And don't forget, most of us have our books in the Seattle Public Library. So you can just type in the author's names and you will see the titles and perhaps a brief summary. Most of my books, or rather I should say both of them, are available through Third Place Books, Seward Park. Online, that is. They can mail it to you or you can drive by for a pickup. But you'll find, if you just take our names and just Google it through the Seattle Public Library, you can go find a free book if you don't wish to buy it. However, we can get the information out. That's the most important part.
And mine are in Third Place Books too. And ordinarily, we read at the Seattle Public Library, Columbia Branch, every second Sunday at 2. And every third Monday, we read at Third Place Books at 7. And every third Friday, we read at Bin 41. That's a wine shop. So people get their wine and listen to us read. And for a while, we were reading every quarter at Open Books. Billy Swift owns that, and she was just so gracious. But I've written her, but I haven't heard from her recently. But there was a nice story in the Seattle Times not too long ago about Open Books, and it's one of the few independent bookstores in Seattle. So I always encourage people to go to Elliott Bay, the first place we read in 1992, Third Place, and Open Books. So yeah, you can find out.
Georgia, can you send out a list of the names of the people that read tonight so we can look them up?
Do that.
That would be great. Thank you.
I can.
Wanted to mention that
I don't have all of the emails. So if you want to be on our let you know when we read again or where we read, then put it on the chat, and then I can contact you, because I do have a list and I send it out regularly. Try not to be a pest, I do, but I do remind people. Yeah. Somebody else had a question or comment?
I do. This is Kibibi.
Yeah.
So is it possible then to have a list and emails of everyone that did participate tonight? I mean, I know you're saying to put it in the chat, but how will we get it?
Well, I have to find out from people. You know, some people don't want their emails shared. I was just going to share names. But if you give me your email and you don't want other people to have it, please indicate that, because I don't want to put your email out there if you don't want it.
Yeah.
So, but most of the time I can tell people how to get in touch with somebody.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with my email going out. I was just wondering if you were going to have a list that you were going to send out everybody.
Yeah, I usually have a sign-in list by the door. Okay. Anybody else?
Well, just a list of the names.
I'm sorry. I was going to say a number of us have published books, and Gail told you at the beginning about.
Say how to, okay, it's called.
Where is yours?
Soulful, Sassy, Soulful and Sassy Reflections and Poems, and you can buy it through Amazon.
Okay.
And it's $10.95.
Well, you can buy mine through Amazon too, but I encourage people not to buy it because Amazon sells it for $49 and I sell it out of the back of my trunk for $15.
Really?
And Amazon sells it for $49. And honestly, I think I did the first one in 2009. I have never gotten a $5 check from them. I have a 98-cent check. I have a $3.23 check. I have, but I've never gotten a $5 check from them. And some of them I haven't cashed. They're just on the,
Oh, that's fun.
But
I've gotten checks from them. I've gotten a few checks from them.
That's good. That's good. I hope the deals are better today than they were then.
Support independent bookstores.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Place.
Thank everybody for coming. What, did somebody else have a question?
I just wanted to say, when you send out the list of names, we don't need all the email. Just the names will work because we're going to Google them to find out how to get their book.
I'm going to give everybody my email address, and then you email me and tell me what you want, and I'll try to comply here, okay? It's G as in Georgia, S as in Savior, McDade, MCD as in David, A, D again, E at msn.com. And right now I'm having some problems. So some of my emails, I see some of you who are getting my emails, but there are other people I know who aren't getting them. But just give me a while. They tell me the emails will not go away. As soon as Outlook gets it straight, I'll get all the emails. Yeah, Jay. Put your hand up, Jay.
So won't Michael be main? So since he's recording it, so for people that want a copy of the recording, I don't know if he's making that accessible, available, or if they want to stream it online, maybe Michael B. Main can explain how they can stream it online since it's being recorded.
Michael. I know Michael remembered to unmute.
Hey, Michael.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm in a spaceship right now. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Jay. There right now, everything is streaming on the website at weouthereseattle.com. You can watch that right now, actually. And as soon as this is finished, the archive is available immediately. So you can watch it right now at the homepage at weouthereseattle.com.
You heard that now. We out here.
He's saying that he's telling me the address too fast.
What?
Yeah, what was that? We are here?
Out here.
Out here.
We out here. I told him it should be we still out here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because last year he did a festival and people liked it so much, had to bring it back. And some of the material is already online. And tomorrow night, there'll be a discussion. 6 of us in the Alliance wrote plays, some very short, Jay, okay? And there'll be a discussion.
Excuse me, Michael?
Yes.
Will you please say how to contact you again, please? Because you said it a little too fast for me.
Sure, absolutely.
Look on the chat.
You can...
At the bottom, there's a little thing that says chat.
Oh, I see it. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay,
you were totally good. You're totally good. It is for anybody who's watching and can't see the chat, it is weouthereseattle.com. That is weouthereseattle.com.
OUTHERE. Okay. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, thank you.
What time is the thing tomorrow?
What time does it start?
6 o'clock.
Yeah, tomorrow.
6.
What is the thing tomorrow?
But you can.
What's tomorrow?
What's happening tomorrow?
Let's let Michael answer.
There, I'm gonna put the calendar here as well. At let's see here. At 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, there is yoga. At 10 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, there's a conversation on mental and emotional health and well-being. at 2:00 p.m. Pacific. There's a film screening with excuse me, Naima Clark of Nurturing Roots. And she will also be available right afterwards for a talk back and question and answer session. And then at 6 is the Mahogany Project with the African American Writers Alliance.
Okay.
Screening six plays that they wrote and produced in a matter of weeks and edited and everything. So four programs. I think I got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 programs. Yeah, got it right. 4 programs. 8, 10, 2, and 6.
6. Okay.
And the play event runs from 6 to 8. There are 6 short plays. George's play Changing Oil, and Minnie's play Troubled Waters are 2 of those 6. And they will be available for the talk back afterward. But if you watch them ahead of time, you can send questions through the form link that is on the website too. And we would love to have those questions and comments from the audience members.
I watched 2 today. I'll see the others tonight. Before it was really interesting recording them. And I recorded a play and I thought, oh, okay. But it never occurred to me that one actress might be in Vermont and the actor in Seattle, you know. But it's been amazing. I've just had a great time.
So you said it was on at 6 tomorrow night, but he's now saying that you can watch it ahead of time. So where do you?
Yeah.
You
I'll
can watch.
send it to you, Susan.
You can watch them ahead of time right now at the website as well. I'm going to
I'll
put
send
that
it
link
to you, Diane.
into the chat right now. Yeah, they are available for you to watch immediately. And we're also screening all of them back to back tomorrow as well for people who haven't had an opportunity to see them yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I am going to end this meeting. Michael, do you want to end this meeting? You might want something.
I think I have to. Thank you all so much, Dr. McDade.
Anytime.
Thank you for, I feel like I say this all the time, every time I see you, but thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for representing the South and Louisiana. Thank you for, today is a day that, I feel so much pride when just on Juneteenth, I feel pride. I also spend a lot of time in reflection, wondering how can I be better? How can we be better? And when I get a chance to experience things like this, it reminds me of how much beauty there is in the world, and what can happen when we come together, share our stories, share our voices, and treat each other with respect and dignity. And I'm looking at people right now who some of which I've never met but only heard of. Some people like Kabibi I've seen several times, and there's look at that smile. There's a magic about Kabibi. One of the strongest advocates I've ever known, and it's people like you who bring folks like this together. So I want to thank you and honor you for everything that you do, not just professionally, but as a human on earth, and the kinds of energy you put out and the kind of energy you allow yourself to receive.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. McDade. You're amazing. I love you, and I appreciate you.
All right, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Some of you I know I'll hear from tonight. That's a good thing. It's really good. I'm so glad that all of you participated. Okay. Good night.
All right.
I love you all. I love you all. Thank you.
Yes, I've been saying that, but I love you more.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Everybody, that you is plural. That you is plural. Okay.
Yes.
I love you more. Thank you.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Gonna get rid of us. Oh.